Laser sights are an essential firearms training tool, clearly correcting and improving the two most important shooting fundamentals, aiming and trigger control. Crimson Trace, making laser sights standard equipment. Learn more at crimsontrace.com.
#1 national voice in defense of your Second Amendment rights. Gun Talk, available on iTunes and on the free Gun Dealio smartphone app for Android and iPhone. To be on the air with Tom, call us now, 866-825-5486 or 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Now, here's Tom.
All right, welcome back to Gun Talk. Tom Gresham here. It's 866-TALK-GUN, and you can join us, of course. Just give us a holler. We've been talking, of course, through the last several weeks, actually more than that, months, about the Hearing Protection Act, the, we hope, law that would make it a lot easier to own silencers or suppressors. Earlier this week, we were able to run down one of the sponsors of this bill, Congressman Jeff Duncan from South Carolina. Here's that conversation. Of course, you've heard of the Hearing Protection Act. It's we've been talking about it. We've been crossing our fingers. We've been wishing and hoping. But now we're going to get to talk to somebody that actually knows what's going on with this. We're joined by Congressman Jeff Duncan. He's one of the sponsors of this. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me on, and thanks for following this issue that's so important to folks that enjoy the shooting sports and avid hunters who, they understand how their hearing is impacted with every trigger pull. So this is a very important issue. I'd love to talk with you about it.
I was looking at something here, and you said you think that you have actually suffered hearing damage as a result of shooting throughout your life.
Yeah, I mean, I started at a young age, like a lot of folks that listen to your show, plinking with a .22, shooting a .410 on doves and squirrels with my father, and then moving up to dove shoots and becoming an avid deer hunter and duck hunter. So a lot of trigger pulls in different hunting situations, and I would guarantee that some of my hearing loss has been a result of that. Now, I've had other life events that I think have damaged some of my hearing as well, but everyone that's a firearms enthusiast, especially somebody that's 50 and younger, when we grew up, we didn't see the need or hearing protection wasn't advocated, so you didn't put on earmuffs every time you went out to squirrel hunt. You didn't, put on earplugs every time you were in a dove field. But at some point, we as gun enthusiasts and hunters saw the need for that. But as you know, I mean, if you're in a hunting situation, you need to hear that turkey gobble. You need to hear the wings of the waterfowls are pitching into decoys. You need to hear the whitetail walking in the woods. You need to hear the covey rise. You just need to be able to hear. You can't do that if you have earmuffs on or earplugs in. Now, there are some electronic devices out there that make it much easier, but the best ones are very, very expensive. I think the Hearing Protection Act, a simple way to address that, let's dampen the decibel level coming out of the end of a firearm to allow hunters to be able to hear their prey in those situations I talked about, but also be able to continue to enjoy their sport.
And obviously, I mean, you got the same old myths out there, and we know that a suppressor or a silencer does not make a gun, in most cases, does not make it silent. It just reduces the noise, particularly if it's a rifle or shotgun. You're absolutely going to hear it, but it makes it better for your neighbors, and, of course, makes it safer for the person who's shooting. Now, let me ask you this, because I have seen the media ramping up their resistance of this with all sorts of things. It's kind of like every time there's a shooting now, what you're going to hear is there'll be a line in there that says, well, just think of how much worse it could have been if it had a silencer. What are you hearing in Congress? I mean, what's the likelihood of being able to get this thing passed?
Well, every piece of legislation takes a while. So I don't want everyone, just because we filed this bill and we're gaining sponsorships and we're trying to work the process, I don't want everyone listening to your show to be holding off, if they're thinking about getting a suppressor, holding off, waiting on this to pass, because this may take a number of years for this effort. So I can't guarantee it's going to pass this year or next year in this Congress. But if you're interested in suppression for your firearms, go ahead and start the proper paperwork and pay the fees, and go ahead and get a suppressor, because this is an effort on our part, and I think we can get it across the finish line, but I don't know how quickly that will be. So I don't want folks to be sitting around who want to use a suppressor for their hearing, who see the benefits in certain situations like hog hunting, where a suppressor will actually make you more effective. to go ahead and get that suppressor. And
Let me ask you
I would also say we need to back off using the term silencer because, as you mentioned, this does not silence the firearm. It suppresses the sound. The suppressed level of most firearms will still be louder, even after suppressed, will still be louder than jackhammers, still be louder than ambulance sirens, still be louder than a jet engine. And we all know those things have been identified as hearing-damaging, producing elements. And so this isn't a silencer, it's a suppressor. But it is the right thing to do for the long-term viability and healthiness of American hunters.
So what this would do, as I'm reading it, it would get rid of this $200 transfer tax. You wouldn't have to wait a year or 18 months, but it would still treat suppressors as firearms. They would have a serial number, and you would have to do a NICS background check. Is that correct?
Yeah, just like you'd go in and purchase a firearm now. If you have a concealed weapon permit in most states, that's expedited. You can, because you've already had the background check, fingerprints are on file, and you can purchase it that day without having to go through an extensive background check. But just like you go purchase a firearm, if you're not a CWP holder, then you have to fill out the FFL forms there with your gun dealer. He has to go and run a background check. And when it comes back clean, you're able to purchase that firearm. It'd be the same way with a suppressor. You would have to have a background check and be able to purchase over the counter just like you do a regular firearm.
For those of us who really would like to see this take place, because this would be a great law for us to have to get rid of this $200 tax, and maybe more so the 12 to 18 months. And, of course, the whole trying to register suppressors has clogged up the system. What can we do? Do we need to each contact our own congressmen and senators?
Absolutely. Call them and or write them, email them, social media, whatever, and ask them to look at this legislation and look at co-sponsoring it. You know, the more co-sponsors we get, then the more attention it will garner from leadership and getting it moved. This particular bill will probably have to go through 2 House committees, both Judiciary and Ways and Means. So it is a lengthy effort. The more sponsors we have, the better. So call your congressman, and I would encourage someone on the Senate to pick this mantle up and file a similar piece of legislation on the Senate side so that we have 2 different vehicles going down the same track here, and hopefully we can get to a resolution a lot quicker that way.
Well, I may have a way to get that to happen. We've got a backdoor into a fairly important senator. I think we may be able to help you on that one. The bill right now is H.R. 367 for those who want to reference that. And, I will. I think there's a way that we may be able to help you get this into the Senate also.
Yeah, and don't buy into, any way listeners can push back against the media and the political left who try to misrepresent what a suppressor is. Push back. That's letters to the editor. That's articles. That's, just being vigilant when the media misreports this, saying, no, you don't have it right here. It is very, very important because this is a national effort. And I think
that's one of the things we do around here. Our whole deal is we do not let a lie there and be left unchallenged. Every time they lie about it, we challenge them on it. Don't let it just sit there. Otherwise, it becomes the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you look at this and you really study it for the truth, you'll see that the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health has said that it, quote, if feasible and legally permissible, attach noise suppressors to firearms to reduce peak sound pressure levels. The CDC, the Center for Disease Control, part of our health apparatus in this country, says this, quote, the only potentially effective noise control method to reduce students or instructors' noise exposure from gunfire is through the use of noise suppressors that can be attached to the end of the gun barrel. So we all know that this will help the hearing long-term, hearing health of American hunters and those that enjoy the shooting sports. Criminals are going to violate the law. That's why they're criminals, whether it's violating a gun-free zone in a federal building or a school, whether it's using an automatic weapon and committing a crime, using an illegal weapon like a sawed-off shotgun, or using a suppressor to try to dampen sound or whatnot. They're going to still do it. This is directed toward allowing law-abiding American citizens who can pass a background check to be able to buy an apparatus to go on their firearm to help with their hearing health. And it's just, I think, a critical piece of the equation for the safety and health of America's hunters and shooting sports enthusiasts.
Well, I sure appreciate that, Congressman Duncan, South Carolina, helping us out here. It's the Hearing Protection Act, H.R. 367. Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. God bless.
All right. Thank you, Congressman. I sure appreciate that. The Hearing Protection Act, let's see, that is H.R. 367. We'll be right back with more Gun Talk.
In the war on terror, fighting crime in the streets, in competition and homes around the world, one name in firearms stands out: Sig Sauer. Our pistols and rifles are renowned for their unfailing performance. This same commitment to excellence can be found in our line of SigTac accessories and the training offered by the Sig Sauer Academy. For unmatched quality, reliability, and innovation when it counts, choose Sig Sauer. Visit sigsauer.com today.
Hi, this is Tom Gresham from Gun Talk. America is losing critical wildlife habitat at a rate of 1 football field every hour. It's happening on the Louisiana coast, but it's critical to all sportsmen and conservationists. These precious wetlands provide winter habitat for more than 10 million ducks and geese annually, waterfowl that migrate north through dozens of states. Don't shrug it off. Get involved. You can help. Visit vanishingparadise.org.
For 36 years, the U.S. Sportsmen's Alliance has been fighting to protect hunting, fishing, and trapping for sportsmen from coast to coast. Today, we are under constant attack from extremist animal rights groups who want to end your ability to hunt in the U.S. Join us to protect our sporting heritage and our way of life outdoors. To join or for more information on how you can help, go to ussportsman.org. That's ussportsman.org.
If you're like me, you don't have money to burn, but you still want to buy guns, ammo, and accessories. That's why we created Gun Dealio. That's a free, yes, a free smartphone app. Just download it and start getting the deals. Could be discounts, offers of free magazines for your gun, or you could be the first to hear about new stuff from gun makers. Here's how it works. With Gun Dealio on your phone, you get alerts when you enter a gun store. Special deals, you know. You don't have to do a thing. It'll do a lot of other cool things, like let you watch gun videos and listen to Gun Talk podcast. Plus, check it anytime for hundreds of deals and offers. Getting more while spending less. Smart, huh? Gun Dealio. Made in America. Gluten-free. At the App Store and Google Play or gundealio.com. All right, back with you. 866-TALK-GUN. Just easier to dial it as Tom Talk Gun. That'll certainly get you anywhere. Pretty much open lines. If there's something you want to talk about or rail about or rant about, by all means. If you if you got a real thing about, I hate 9mm, okay, great, fine, knock yourself out. You have the floor, do it. Or what that old line says, yeah, I'll carry anything as long as it starts with a 4. Okie dokie, that'll work too. I've been talking about this for a while. Still, I'm very undecided. I want to select a new deer rifle for this coming fall. Going to be hunting out west, going to be climbing mountains. Haven't figured out a caliber. You know, and look, I get it. They all work. But what fun is that? The fun is, what, do I want a 25? Do I want a 6.5? Do I want a 7mm? Do I want a Creedmoor? Do I want a 260 Remington? So, I need some help. What do you think? Which one do you like and why? Help me out. I need some enabling help here is what I need. So that'll work for you. A 6.276. There you go. 866-TALK-GUN. Line 3, Vern's with us out of Washington State. Hey, Vern, you are on the air with me. What's up?
Hello, Tom. Hey, a couple of good friends of mine have received a census letter in the mail, and a couple of the questions concerned me. They want to know how many guns you have in the house and how much ammunition. And I'm wondering what you think on what we have to or don't have to answer, and if we do have to answer it, do we have to answer it truthfully?
Are these real census, like from the U.S. Census?
As far as I know, they are, yes.
Huh. Sounds, something's not right here. This doesn't sound right. Do you have it with you at the moment?
No, I don't. I haven't received one myself, just a couple friends of mine have.
And you're in Washington State, right?
Yeah.
And you got an awful lot of stuff going on in Washington State with new anti-gun bills there.
They sure do.
would want to take a second and third look at that and say, okay, is this really from the U.S. Census Department? There's something about this that doesn't sound right. But having said that, if your friends decide to answer it, it is not a sin to tell a lie to someone who's not entitled to know the truth.
All right, I like that answer.
I would go with that. It's nobody's business how many guns I own or how many rounds of ammunition I own. And I am absolutely not going to share that information. I mean, it's the old, what's in it for me? How could I benefit from telling somebody that information? I don't think so. And also, I got to tell you, just not having seen it, that does not sound like something the United States Census Bureau would be asking. That sounds like something weird coming from some other place. So I don't know, So, you can always say, I have one gun and I have 2 rounds of ammo. Both of those are true, right? I know you have at least one gun, and I know you at least have 2 rounds of ammo.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Fair enough.
All right, good deal, Bert. I appreciate you. Pass that along. If you get any more information about this thing, give me a call back. I'm curious now. I want to find out what's going on. David's on line 2 out of Fort Worth, Texas. David, 1911s, talk to me.
Well, I'm looking for a concealed carry, a small frame, 1911, maybe a 3.5, 4-inch barrel, but I'm interested in a stainless model. What would you recommend, and why?
Well, let me back up. Let me ask you, is this going to be an everyday carry gun?
No, not really.
Okay, fair enough. Because if it was going to be a carry gun, I was going to suggest you might consider an alloy frame gun to get some weight off. But if it's not your everyday carry gun, and some people don't mind carrying an all-steel gun, here's the good news and the bad news. The good news is there are a lot of choices here. The bad news is there's no way for me to tell you which is the right choice. Colt, of course, makes very nice 1911s. But here, we got players in the field now that we didn't have a few years ago who are making really, really good 1911s. Smith & Wesson, Ruger are just 2 names that pop up, making really good 1911s. Good carry guns. Colt just came out with an alloy frame. Smith & Wesson has a sleeper there that I really like. It's a scandium frame 1911 that is, so it's a little bit lighter, but it is pretty much as strong as steel, so you can actually shoot it as much as you want. There's just no way for me to tell you which brand. I mean, Kimber, of course, makes a zillion 1911s. And Springfield Armory, they have everything you could possibly want. Let me ask you a question. I'm going to back up and ask you another question. Is there a brand that you like in other guns among those?
I really am partial to Colt and Smith. I've got several of each. I have looked at the Kimber concealed carry 2 or 3 or whatever their current brand is or flavor is, and I've also looked at the Springfield, and I really like either one of those.
I am going to make a suggestion, just because it is more not just a little bit more difficult, it's really more difficult for manufacturers to get a 3-inch barrel 1911 to run well, to run reliably. When you go to a 4-inch barrel, they all tend to run really well. It would be my inclination, and I have both, to go with a 4-inch barrel gun as opposed to a 3-inch barrel 1911. Also, you lose enough velocity where it can actually start to make a difference. But I would think a 4-inch, if you like Springfield, go with it. Smith, oh my gosh, they make some really good 1911s. And Colt is kind of they just keep bringing out more models. It's kind of like they've risen from the dead, which is wonderful for all of us who are gunnies to watch this and see what's going on. So you can't go wrong with any of those. What you're really looking at now is a matter of which one has the features you want, the sights, the grip. When possible, no matter how big your hands are, probably gets thinner grip panels. It just makes 1911s feel even better. Are you a fan of night sights?
I am.
Night sights are great, but I'm going to throw a thought. Let me ask you another question. How old are you?
Old enough to know better.
Okay. I'm going to throw a thought out. Look for something that has a fiber optic front sight. It's going to be counterintuitive for a lot of us older guys, but you look at that and you go, that looks goofy. But when you put it up, that front sight just jumps out at you. It is, and out on the range, it is just delightful. If you've got any kind of light available, it just works great. I would look hard at something that has a fiber optic front sight. See if you can find something like that.
Okay. That's a good tip. I appreciate that.
All right, Dave. Good luck with that. It's a lot of fun shopping for something like that. Let's see. Tell you what, Jerry, don't go anywhere. I need your help. I'm going to get you to tell me about a rifle for my hunting in the American West, the Great American West. By the way, what was that bill? 261? H.R. 261 went away, got pulled back, thank goodness. They were going to try to give away some of our precious federal lands, the places where we hunt and fish and camp and hike, these wild places. And some of the folks wanted to say, well, we're just going to sell those to developers. Yeah, you know what? You can't have a shooting range where they put a condo on it. And you can't go hunting when they sell it to somebody who puts a gate across the road and won't let you in. I was glad to see that go down. There's another one coming up right behind it. We're going to have to see what we can do about it. And I know that not everybody agrees with me on that. Some people say, well, the federal government shouldn't own any land. Well, if you want to have places to go and shoot and hunt out west, that's pretty much what you got. 866 Talk Gun. Be right back.
Gun Talk encourages you to support the local sporting goods store, gun stores, ATV dealers, and other local businesses in your area who advertise on this station and Gun Talk. Only together can we protect our rights. You're listening to Washington Times opinion page regular contributor Tom Gresham.
All right, back with you. A little bit earlier, we had somebody call in and said, look, he had a couple of friends in Washington State who had received something from a census being taken. And part of the questions they were asking, how many guns you owned and how much ammunition you owned. Tucker's called in from Harrison, Arkansas, line 3, with a thought on that. Tucker, what do you think's going on here?
You know, to me, what that sounds like, you know, you mentioned they have pending anti-gun legislation in Washington State, which fortunately is not a problem we have in the great state of Arkansas. But to me, that sounds like a effort by the state of Washington, perhaps, if they operate their own census accounting, to gather that information rather than the federal government.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, man, we just dropped off. Don't you love cell phones? Sorry about that, Tucker. But, yeah, I think he may be right. I think this sounds like a legislative effort. One of the things I was thinking is if folks there, and let me just see here, trying to figure out who our caller was. But anyway, Vern in Washington. Ask your friends to look and see where is this supposed to be mailed back to. Is it the Washington, D.C., is it the federal government, or is it going back to Olympia, Washington, to the state, or some other location? Find out where this thing is supposed to be mailed back to. That would tell us a lot about who is actually sending out this fishing expedition. How many guns do you have, and how much ammunition do you have? Let's see. I'm thinking maybe the whole none of your business is a way to answer that. So there you go. Let's jump up to line 4. Jerry's with us out of Aberdeen, South Dakota. Hey, Jerry, you're on Gun Talk.
Hey, Tom. If you go west at all to do any kind of hunting and stuff, I kind of recommend the Ultramags nowadays. I got a 300 Remington Ultramag, and that'll reach out and touch them at 400 or 500 yards easily. If you get zeroed in, a pretty good accurate rifle and a lot of power behind that bullet.
Mm-hmm. I've shot a lot of Magnums. I've shot a lot of long-range stuff. I drift back to the lighter non-Magnums these days. There's no reason you can't connect with a deer at 400 or 500 yards with a 6.5 Creedmoor, and with the good bullets, it'll certainly kill them. I guess I have become less and less enamored of Magnums, possibly because the rifles, if you're going to get a rifle that's comfortable to shoot, it's got to be heavier. So I'm trying to get the lightest rifle I can for walking up and down those steep hills. I'll be hunting in Idaho, and those hills are pretty steep out there.
Yep. You're up in the probably 10,000 range and stuff like that. But, yeah, those little guns. I've always shot a Remington Ultramag and stuff, and we shoot about 500 yards out here minimum for a range and stuff. So you got to reach out and touch them a little ways.
You're shooting a minimum of 500 yards?
About that for antelope and mule deer, West River stuff.
Wow.
You see them, and if they spot you, they're gone. So you basically got to shoot about 400 or 500 yards to just even get a chance on some of them, because some of them they just spook and they can be gone on another ridge in about 30 seconds.
Are you using laser rangefinders?
The guide is, yeah.
Okay.
So we usually go out with the guide and stuff, and we shoot about, I think the one buddy shot the antelope at 525 and stuff, and mine was at 450 one year when I shot one, so.
Man, that's some long shots.
Yeah, like I say, you got to, because they see you, and they're the antelope, they can run, and if you're spotted at all, they're gone. You could see them, and then about 2 seconds later, if they see you, they're gone, and you don't have a chance at them.
Right. All right. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Let's see. We're going to drop down to line 2. David's with us out of Jacksonville, Oregon. Hey, David, you're on Gun Talk.
Hey, Tom. I think that guy's a fool you just talked to, trying to shoot a moving animal that far away. You get
he didn't say anything about moving.
Or standing still. But
he did not say anything about moving.
I'm functionally deaf in one ear, so hearing protection is very important to me. And I won't pull a trigger without single or double hearing protection. And I have one of those electronic ones, and my gosh, what a difference it makes. So my question for you, though, is what are you planning on hunting out west, up in Idaho?
Oh, this would be mule deer.
Mule deer, okay. Well, Indy caliber, and you don't have to go big with it. I shot 360 with a 270 and got a mule deer, one shot, 30-inch forked horn, which is pretty amazing. There's only 2 other ones in the record book in Oregon.
Wow.
But so your bullet is almost as important as your caliber and your ability to shoot it.
Absolutely agreed. I'm thinking that anything in the 260, 6.5, 6.5 by 55, that area, maybe a 7mm08, but you put good bullets in there, and we've got a host of good bullets these days. And then it's just a case of, can you shoot? And also, can you judge distance? And that's where the laser rangefinder comes in. The difference between 300 and 400 yards can be a 6-inch drop. Once it gets past that, it starts to drop pretty quickly. So it's a case of, can you judge distance? Do you have the ability? And frankly, I will tell you, I am kind of at the point where I don't want to shoot past 400 yards. I know some people really get a kick out of that. For me, the kick is getting closer. I'm not about trying to throw a bullet that far. I want to get close. To me, that's my definition of hunting. It's different for each person, and that's okay. I'm not saying one's better than the other, but that's just where I am. I appreciate the call, sir. All right, 866-TALK-GUN gets you in here. It's just dial Tom Talk Gun. I am looking for your ideas for calibers, for Western shooting, for a light rifle, for mule deer, Also, still looking for your input. What is your everyday carry? When you get up in the morning, you put on your pants or you dress for work or wherever you're going to go, what do you put in your pockets? What do you put in your purse? What do you carry? Gun, ammo, mag, knife, flashlight, flamethrower. I don't know. Give me a call.
There's only one place where you can buy that firearm you've always wanted and turn it into your very own. That place is Brownells.com. Now offering a huge selection of firearms from all your favorite brands. Brownells is the spot to buy online. When you're choosing your gun, be sure to look over the enormous selection of parts, accessories, ammo, and more to make that firearm your masterpiece. Brownells.com. Serious about firearms.
The Ruger pistol that started it all is now even better. The Ruger Mark IV has the same great look as the Mark III, but now its simple one-button takedown means less time taking apart your gun and more time shooting it. Disassemble it in seconds for no hassle cleaning. Learn more about the Target, Hunter, and 2245 Light Mark IV series models at Ruger.com. The Ruger Mark IV, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
Attacks happen every day. How will you react? See real people put into real-life criminal attack situations on First Person Defender. Discover what works and what doesn't. Kidnapping, ATM robbery, home invasion, and other attacks. Learn how to save your life and the lives of your family. Get the entire first season on DVD at shopguntalk.com. Get prepared. Shopguntalk.com.
Crimson Trace announces the revolutionary Link, the world's first wireless laser and white light system. Combining a green laser at 300 lumen light with instinctive activation for AR-type modern sporting rifles. Link offers wireless control of the laser and light from the ergonomic replacement grip, eliminating the need to reach for the rifle's forend. Link. Smart, simple, secure. Available now. Visit crimsontrace.com to find a dealer near you.
So we're at dinner last night at a nice restaurant, two couples, and we're talking about building ARs and bolt carrier groups. And he said, well, all you have to do is have a trigger. I said, I got triggers. I got Timney triggers. They have never been installed. Oh, okay, well, you got a trigger. We'll go from there. So we're going to be doing some playing around and building ARs. Why? I don't know. Just because it's fun, because I want a 300 blackout, and I want some other stuff, and because we can. Ain't America great? Love it. 866-TALK-GUN. Let's see here. Jim, Casper, Wyoming, line 3. This is interesting. Public service announcements. What are you hearing there, Jim?
Hello, Tom. I appreciate the way you keep people up to date on what government and its cronies are doing to disarm people. And I thought you'd like to know that for about 3 weeks now, I've been hearing public service announcements on the radio urging private citizens who are selling their personal weapons to do so through a licensed dealer to, as they say, make sure it's not falling into the wrong hands. I see this as an effort to get around the fact that they can't have mandatory background checks, at least not yet.
Now, we're sure that these are PSAs and they're not paid ads?
Well, the ads are brought to us by the National Council on Crime Prevention, the Ad Council, and one other outfit that I can't remember right now.
Okay, that's a PSA. Hold on. I know how to stop that. Here's what you do.
Radio station?
Yeah. You call the station where you're hearing it, and then you get 3 of your buddies to do it. And you ask for the station manager, and you say, you're running a politically oriented PSA. I'm offended by it, and I want you to put this, and write him a letter. I want you to put this in your records folder. That way, it's permanent record when the FCC checks and renews their license. You have complaints in there. It has been my experience that generally one or only two calls like that will get that PSA yanked as fast as they can send an email. So that would be what I would say. And if anybody else is hearing these, I want to know about them, because this definitely is coming from a national group, the National Safety, National Ad Council. The Ad Council has done a lot of anti-gun stuff in the past. And so what you want to say is that this is advocating a particular political point of view. It is not a public service announcement. And if they're not paying for this, I would like for you to kindly pull it. And all you need is 3 of you to make the call or send an email in, and generally that will get it done. So if anybody else is hearing about this, I want to hear about it. Look, I appreciate the heads up. I had not heard these, Jim. Thank you very much for that. Let's see here. Line 2, Neil's with us out of Nevada. Neil, you have an idea for mule deer.
Yeah, good morning. Good afternoon. 6.5 Grendel.
Huh. Okay. Do you shoot one?
Yep. Sorry. I built one in the AR platform, and I was just out hunting this morning and shot a coyote with a 120 grain Barnes bullet that I hand loaded, and it did a spectacular job of splitting that coyote in half.
Huh? The 6.5 Grendel. How did you get to that place? Why did you decide to go with that?
Well, my favorite cartridge is a 6.5 by 55. I wanted something in the AR platform that was going to give me more rounds from 5 to 10, and
right.
The ballistics are practically the same.
And there's nothing in the world wrong with a 6.5 by 55, or as it's known as the 6.5 Swede. That's a great caliber. How long have you been shooting a 6.5 Grendel?
A little over a year and a half.
Okay. Are you doing the hand loading for it? Are you finding?
Yes, I'm doing the hand loading for it.
Okay. It is an interesting idea. Probably, I'm going to go with a bolt action rifle for this hunt, simply because we can make them lighter. There's a limit to how far you can go with an AR, and this, if I was going to go. I was just going to say, if I were going to go varmint hunting, I would absolutely want to have the AR platform, because I love the idea of follow-up shots or multiple critters. But for deer hunt, I don't think so for this particular hunt. I have nothing against using ARs for deer hunting in some places, but if I got to go climb a mountain, I want the the rifle to be as light as it can be. All right. Listen, I appreciate the call. Let me get to Tim on line 3 out of Casper, Wyoming. Tim, you heard that PSA also?
Yes, sir, I have. And if I get Tom's number, then I'd be more than welcome to help him in that 3 to call the station.
Okay. Let's see here. We had Jim from Casper, and you're in Casper. So we had Jim and Tim both in Casper. I would say start hammering the station and see if we can't get that pull. But further, I would ask them, where did you get it, and how did you decide to start running this? Because the problem is they don't know. You know, the people at the station, they don't know the difference. They're just getting this, and, it sounds good, let's run a PSA. And they don't know that they're actually buying into a whole gun control agenda, trying to condition the public to where selling a gun privately to another person, even though it's legal, somehow is not right. It's wrong. And they're trying to condition the public to accept the idea of mandatory background checks on private sales, or even loaning a gun to a relative or to a friend. So that's what's going on. So if you would, Tim, contact the same station or contact any station where you hear it and let them know, look, that is not a PSA. That's a political ad. It is pushing for an agenda that may be coming to our state on the ballot, because we've seen it happen in Washington State. We've seen it happen in Nevada. We've seen it happen in other states. And that's what's going on here. But I want to go track, and appreciate that. I want to track this down. My guess is that the Bloomberg-backed gun control, gun ban groups have gotten to the National Ad Council, and they've gotten them to create this PSA. And we're going to find out where the money is coming from on this, because when you can find the money, you can find out who's responsible and if there's any public money involved. My guess is with the administration we have right now, we can get that cut off. That's a very good thing. Yeah, I know. The brats are on the grill. Everybody's having a good time waiting for this ball game. But it's not time yet. We're still going to be yakking here. By the way, we're going to do an after show here. If you'd like to call in and be on the after show, by all means do that. You can participate in what's really a lot of fun. Just call us right now, 866-TALK-GUN. Chris is in Sheridan, Arkansas, line 2. Hey, Chris, what are you shooting these days?
Oh, what am I using?
Yeah, you said you like the 270?
Yes, sir. 270. I would suggest. I would think that would be a good mule deer caliber. To be honest, down here in the south where we're at, whitetails, you can't go wrong with a 270.
I love the 270. It will do anything you want it to do. You can take anything in North America with a 270. But I guess you got a question about ammo or bullet selection.
Sir, I personally use a 25-06, and me and my buddy, he uses the same caliber. We argue and fight over the better ammunition. I use a Remington Core-Lock. He uses a Hornady ballistic tip, and I just want to know your opinion on that.
You're both right. Here's the question: and the 25-06 is a great caliber. When you shoot a deer with a Remington Core-Lock and he shoots a deer with the ballistic tip, do they both die?
Neither one of us have any complaints.
Yeah, exactly. Here's the thing. The Core-Lock is an old design, and it's not quite as efficient in terms of being pointy and better for long range. And it may not be quite the controlled expansion, but for a whitetail, there's no problem. When you get into a little bit bigger deer, it might be an issue, but frankly, it's really not. It kind of comes down to what do you like, what have you always used, what works well in your rifle. Now, we do have some really good bullets that are fairly new. We've got newer. The Barnes bullets, the all-copper bullets are great. The Nosler AccuBonds and the tipped bullets that they have. Obviously, Nosler partitions are the standard against which pretty much everything is measured, but the Remington Core-Lock just works. When you shoot them in the right place, they go down and you sharpen your knife and you have venison. So I like what you guys are doing. I think you should keep arguing about it, and you're never going to convince the other one, but it sure makes for fun conversations around the campfire. Chris, thank you for your call. I appreciate that. We're lucky. We have so many good calibers. They all do tend to work. The main thing is, and I would say the biggest mistake I see among big game hunters is choosing a caliber that has more recoil than they can comfortably shoot. If the 30-06 seems like a powerful cartridge and it beats you up, then by all means, drop down. You certainly don't need to be shooting a Magnum unless you can shoot it well. And by well, I mean shooting from a sitting position or offhand and putting all of your shots inside of an 8 or 9 inch paper plate at whatever the distance is where you're going to be shooting. So if you say, well, I'll shoot out to X, 300 yards, then all your shots have to be into that paper plate at 300 yards. All right? That's the deal. And if Magnum makes you flinch, and if you can't shoot it that well, drop back. Get a 30-06, get a 270, get a 25-06, get a 257 Roberts. Drop down until you find a rifle that you can shoot well and you're comfortable and you like shooting it. They will all kill a deer if you do your part. All right, here's your thought for the day. Never turn down a chance to be someone's hero. What does that mean? There are opportunities all the time, everywhere you go, just to help somebody out. It could be taking somebody to the range and offering that. It could be fixing something for them, stopping and fixing a flat tire, changing a tire for somebody. Never miss a chance to be someone's hero. Work on that this week. See if that does something for you. In the meantime, have a great day, a great game, a wonderful week. Be safe, love your family, be a hero.